Good?
Thumbs up is a good thing.
All right, so we did an intro. What do you guys think?
Lovely.
Should we do a discussion on the topic?
Mm-hmm.
Like last week, we started talking about, what was it? We started talking about
Was I here for that session?
last Saturday.
Yeah.
For me, it actually was
I'm so
about that,
beautiful, naive.
that defining moments, eh? For me, last time when we spoke about, when we started this conversation. It was like, because I mean, with this being inside out, for me, what you were saying now, what your introduction was, and the stuff that I just rambled the last time, was really about my defining moment. And it's about me seeing myself inside out, and then how I can bring that out with others. I mean, doing a coaching session.
Are you recording that, Caleb? Okay. So, Karen, tell us about your transformation process. Just carry on in a conversation like we were having now.
Okay, yeah, so like I said, it was the defining moment. So just doing the coaching sessions and becoming a coach, for me, it was not just doing a course. And because it's new to me, it is still me learning and how to do it. But the defining moment came when I had the heart attack, and when I had to do that inside out moment where suddenly you're faced with death in a sense, and then you have to look at what are you doing. Is what you're doing important for you, or what you've currently been doing was expectations of others, and when I understood that, I think personally it made me a better person and a better coach, because I understand that shifts that sometimes happens. And for me, making that shift myself and then seeing shifts in others through coaching, it's just such a powerful mechanism or process to bring out the best in people. So our title of Inside Out is just so apt, I think, into so many levels, which I'm so happy to be part of this and helping people and having conversations about it.
I think what I'm really getting from that is that we all sitting here because we all kind of had that defining moments. There was that one moment in your life where you hit rock bottom, whether it's with your health, whether it's a circumstance in life where you're either going to let that rock bottom swallow you up and you're going to react negatively, or your rock bottom is going to give you a sense of flip. I've got some serious changes to make in my life. So I think maybe that should then be the discussion for today. What was your rock bottom, or what was your defining moment that led you to change your trajectory, and that has actually led us to be sitting here together and just having this conversation?
I think that's a very, very nice way to start off, because I think that all our listeners probably had that rock bottom and they want to be able to know that they're not alone, and know that everybody reaches rock bottom at some point. And that rock bottom doesn't mean the end, but the beginning of many things. So, many good things. So I think that's quite a nice.
Okay.
Yesterday on our breakfast club on a Zoom, I didn't plan on sharing what I shared, but because of the conversations we were having, I just felt led to share that, and it was the difference between being planted versus being buried, right? And I just think it brings to relevance here, right, Nicole? That
For sure.
When we hit certain moments in our lives, and like you were saying now, I want to bring the analogy to the point of sometimes something is dying, and we struggle with that moment of sometimes life and death is not just a physical life experience, but an emotional process that can be even harder to overcome sometimes. Alliance with somebody, a work, a career, a friendship, a love affair. And that thing that is dying, we all heard before, when a door closes, another one opens, or some things have to go so others can come in. But that transition process, it's hard. It's very hard. And depending on what emotional state the person is in, or what kind of support structure they have around them, it can facilitate the recovery process or can make it even harder, right? So when we understand that being buried and being planted, physically speaking, is the same process, but with very different outcomes. Being buried means you're being laid on the ground, that it's over, it's done, it's gone. But being planted, like the scripture says, being planted, if the grain of wheat it's lying on the table and being admired and being praised for what it can be, it will never be what it could be. But if it is planted on the soil and then taking care of it, it's a bearing process for the seed. But it's going to germinate and it's going to blossom and it's going to bring a harvest of many other seeds that will both feed and become seeds for further harvest. So when we gain that perspective that whenever something is dying, if we focus on a legacy, what is it that we're leaving for? What is it that we're learning? What is the lesson in that challenge? What is the life happens for us, not to us? With that perspective, it helps the individual to endure that mourning process, that suffering, that dying of something in our lives. And it can take us long enough so the emotion can recover, the heart can recover, the beliefs can be reassessed. But that's again why our role in people's lives is so fundamental, because sometimes you do need a coach. I wouldn't be where I am without the many coaches I had in different areas throughout my life. When you ask about, let's talk about the rock bottom. That's another point I wanted to bring to the discussion. Sometimes the rock bottom can be one event that is life-changing, or can be micro events throughout your life that resets your direction, reshifts your attention. What do you think of that?
Well, it takes me back to a conversation we once had when you asked me what you think was that one defining moment in your life that made the change for you. And my answer, I remember quite clearly, was that it wasn't just one moment. It was micro moments along the way that has led up to the change and led up to the growth and led up to the person that I am now. But within that journey and the micro moments, or let's call it sort of like micro wake-up calls, there's been a few big ones. And I'm just going to share one or two personal stories that has, in terms of my health, because in my capacity here as a personal trainer and a health coach, that is really what I want to focus on. And I really want to help people see the importance and the value of looking after your health. And for a long time, I didn't. So when I first decided to take control of my health, it was a result of just very low self-esteem, absolutely no confidence, bad relationships, broken relationships, and I just came out of a bad relationship myself, where I didn't realize it at the time, but I put all my worth and all my value within this person and in this relationship. And when it ended, I felt like nothing. I felt like I had absolutely nothing to live for. I felt like I wasn't worth anything. I had nothing to offer, because here was this man that I gave my absolute all to. He wasn't treating me with the respect, and he didn't know my worth. So if he wasn't treating me right, what worth do I actually have? And for a long time I wallowed in that feeling. For a long time I was buried. For a long time I thought that was my death. And after wallowing it for too long, it was either I had feelings of not wanting to be here anymore, but the universe is funny that way. When you are meant to be here for a purpose, the universe won't let you go. And that was a big one for me. Just being in that situation. I know there's a lot of people out that's going to listen to this that's been through bad relationships where they have put their value and their worth in a person. And I've been there. And just worth taking tiny little steps to take care of my health. And I'm talking about physically with my weight, because I was over 100 kilograms. So the self-love and the worth.
Wait. Let's. When she says I was over 100 rands, everybody goes, how heavy were you?
I was 105 kilograms.
Never.
Never, ever.
We have to post the pictures so people will believe it.
Yes. Now I was a jolly big girl, but the weight that I put on was my protective covering, because I was just so scared and so scared of being hurt, and so sick and tired of being hurt, and unfortunately or fortunately, I'm a giving person. And when I'm in a relationship, whether it's a friendship or a partnership, I give you my all. And sometimes it's to my detriment, and that's okay. I'm accepting that is who I am, and I can't switch that off.
What I love about that journey is that you, in every step, you're looking to where you can grow.
Yeah.
And where you can become stronger, versus focusing on the pain and on the problem and creating avoidance, who said avoidance today?
I said avoidance.
Creating avoidance, because the truth is out there, right? The biggest challenge is that we also used to blame,
Yeah.
right? And blame will stop us from growing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
instead of saying, sorry.
Carry on.
Instead of saying something like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, or oh my gosh, this is just too painful to bear, we're saying that instead of saying something like, I can do this, and I can actually overcome this, and I can actually appreciate my pain. I can appreciate the fact that I'm feeling there today, you know? Yeah, we should start thinking like that.
Yeah,
as
but Liesl, that only comes with
After.
a certain amount of growth.
Absolutely.
When you're in that pain and you're in that feeling and you're in that mindset, you don't see that you can
Absolutely.
overcome. And I always tell people, people go through challenges, and I'm just like, you've survived 100% of the days that you've been on this earth, and God wouldn't put any challenge in your way that you can't handle. You are meant to go through that challenge, but in that challenge, sometimes you are just so blinded and you can't see that you are meant to overcome.
Absolutely.
So how, my question is then, I started taking care of myself with my physical health, with my mental health, with those type of things, and through that I became more confident. Through that I began to understand my worth. But what do you tell the person that is just not there yet? Like, what would I have told myself? Because I know if I spoke to the Nicole back then that was negative, in a bad space, I would not have listened.
No, you wouldn't.
I would not have listened. I would have thought, who the hell do you think you are to tell me how to live my life?
Exactly.
So
You know what I just remembered now? My best friend's wedding with Julia Roberts. When she is locked in her hotel room screaming and crying because she realized that she's about to destroy her best friend's wedding day, but she can't stop herself from wanting to be with him. And then she's screaming and crying, and then the hotel guy passes by, hears the thing, and he slips a note under the door saying, "This too shall pass."
Yeah.
And I thought it was so funny because you can never tell, and thank God for moments like that where I am a living testimony of moments like that out of the blue somebody would just slip in the right note as a figure of speech, and understand it. So my answer to your question would be, if you are listening to this podcast, however hard the situation you're going through, this too shall pass. The good times, they end. The bad times, they end. As Jim Rohn reminds us, our business coach and life coach and mentor, is, life works in seasons. There's a time and a season for everything.
Well, Thor says in one of the Marvel movies, I think it's he says the only permanent thing in life is impermanence itself.
Yeah.
That's coming from a blonde guy.
Exactly.
I mean,
Hey, now.
Exactly. So the only thing that's permanent in life is impermanence.
Yeah.
I remember
The only
that-
thing that's permanent is change.
Exactly. So I remember going to a doctor once, and I was feeling really down. I was showing symptoms of, I was depressed. I was extremely
Should we step
depressed.
away?
And I was showing symptoms of, but very symptomatic, very somatic symptoms. Sorry. So my head was always paining, my tummy was always paining. I had all these physical symptoms, and the doctor turns around and he says to me, "You know what? Stop stressing about the future. Stop stressing about the past. And live for the moment." Because whatever you're experiencing right now, that will pass. You are guaranteed that you're not going to stay there. You are guaranteed that this will not forever be the situation that you'll find yourself in. And I guess that's the kind of thing that just needed me to shift right out from my depressed, essence, my depressed aura, is that I actually really needed to start realizing that nothing in this life is permanent, and that this too shall pass. Being someone who was diagnosed with postnatal depression after my second born, I do understand what it's like to be in that hole and stay there. I know how dark it gets, and I know how lonely it gets. I remember one evening when, I was in the bath, my son was crying, and I just slid my whole body into the bath, and I didn't want to get out. I didn't want to come out. I didn't want to face reality. And then it was decided, no, we have to see a doctor, and I was put on antidepressants. But even then, I wasn't ready to go on this self-growing journey, this growth journey that I find myself in. Like, he's 12 now. 12 years later.
And you had another child
And
afterwards.
I had another child afterwards. So 12 years later.
So you
10
weren't
to 12
scared enough.
I wasn't scared enough, no. Probably that self-belief, that I can do this, and this time I shall do
Let
it
me
right.
try again.
Let me just try. And I did a good job, because I didn't have a diagnosis of PND afterwards again. But, I've taken nearly 12 years to undergo this whole self-love journey again. So it's I guess it's when you're ready.
Yeah.
To answer your question,
Hearing
it's when
you,
you're ready.
hearing you know what reminds me is that, you're listening to us, you're listening to the podcast. I want to press on this point. The hardships you're facing, the challenge you're facing, however, somebody broke the light at the end of the tunnel, if that's what you're feeling right now, because we've been there in different circumstances. I remember being a teenager and not having a sense of identity, not knowing who I was. I remember being a young man and being disappointed with my life. At the age of 22, I had a nervous breakdown. I was taken to a psychiatrist. I didn't believe in it, but I was taken to a psychiatrist and to a neurologist, and they both diagnosed that I had a nervous breakdown that a 45-year-old man would have, realizing at the middle age that he didn't fulfill his life's
So you had a
purpose.
midlife crisis.
I had a midlife
At
crisis.
the age of 22.
I had a midlife crisis at the age of 22, right? That's why at 52 I look so young. But I'm doing the process in reverse. But but at the age of 40, I dealt with my firstborn, 4 years old, going through a brain cancer surgery and treatment. And for 10 years, I can honestly say, I was a zombie. I was working in a corporate environment as a trainer, with the risk of losing my job several times because I couldn't cope with the pressure. I remember having nightmares that I would arrive at home or I would wake up and my son would be dead, that something wrong happened. And but today, after overcoming those things, like Karen was talking about her heart attack and how it was a moment that changed her life. After overcoming everything, it made me the person I am today. That, and I say that with a pure heart and with all the mothers I can sum up, but the ladies in the room are my witness. It made me an incredible life coach where I am passionate about people. I am passionate about life. It made me able to relate to people, to be led by the Spirit, to be led by the heart, and relate to people where I'm listening to somebody pour out their heart, like it happened yesterday in a session after our breakfast call. Somebody pour out their hearts, pour out the challenge they're having, and I'm listening to the person. I'm thinking, how am I ever going to be able to say anything to this person? And then all of a sudden, it just kicks in the love, the care, the intention, understanding the frailty of the human condition, and just speaking to the person's heart, and 15 minutes later having that person, in a completely different state, saying thank you so much, and I went to have a glass of ale or glass of tea afterwards. I needed to replace the energy that was gone, but I was just praising God. I say thank you for coming through, because this is really incredible that we can be partners in life with each other, that we can overcome the challenges with the help of others, with the help of each other. We can, once we overcome the challenges we go through, we can be a blessing to somebody else. We can be that voice that will lift somebody else. Like the quote we all know from our business, we rise by lifting others.
Yeah.
And I love that expression that says, don't stress too much about what you're going through, because nobody gets out of life alive. Nobody gets out of life alive. So don't stress too much about what you're going through. But I want to leave this message for us. And anybody welcome to finish with a word that they want to finish with. But I want to finish my part with this word. Whatever you're going through right now, take a moment of courage and reach out. Reach out to us. You're going to have our contact details. Reach out. Mental health, business coaching, personal coaching, health coaching, life coaching. Reach out to any of us. Maybe you just like Karen's face and you can relate to her. Reach out to us and take the hand to help you through that portion where you are in now. All of us can testify to that. There was a moment that we needed somebody to hold our hand and just believe for us while we had to overcome that challenge that we didn't believe we could. Don't give up. Because when the fight is in the darkest hour, the victory is just around.
I think that's amazing. I think I would just like to end off with something as well, because I've been told I'm a late starter. I'm 56 and I'm just starting this coaching journey now. But it feels like with my heart attack, which was 11 months ago, that I am just starting. So if there's anyone out there that feel, and Nicole spoke about those micro moments, don't ignore it, because they all stack up and end up in a heart attack possibly. So I want to reach out to especially the older people who think their life is, why now? It's late already. It's never too late. Just reach out. We're here to help you, and we've been through some of the experience. So.
At the age of 56, you're starting a whole new career.
Exactly.
And finding purpose.
Finding purpose and excited about my future.
That's amazing.
As a young person, the youngest here, I am inspired.
Just
by
because
that.
you're 16 doesn't mean you don't have value.
No, I'm 16 with no values. I'm just out here living my life. No rules. But Corey, I'm inspired by that, because that teaches me that career pathing and choices and life is not set in stone. It's what you decide you want it to be, and it can be at any age, and you're never too old.
Yeah.
You know, you're never too old to start anything. Life is so short, and if you wanted to start something at 16 years old like myself, or if you want to start something.
Okay, tell people your actual age before we get in trouble for having a minor in the studio.
Okay, I did mention that in my intro. Let's just keep that under wraps. But I'm 33, and I think people must just trust your gut. I think, you know, if I could leave you with anything, that little voice in your head, that intuition, that uncomfortable feeling you have, that feeling of maybe depression, hopelessness, and anxiety, that is that little voice in your head telling you that it's time for the change, baby girl. It's time for you. That's the voice in your head saying maybe you are veering off your path. Maybe that's not the direction you're supposed to be going in, and you're not listening to the signs. So I'm going to do some things in your life to rock your boat, to make sure that you get onto the path you are supposed to be on. And that's life. When the hurdles come and the winters in your life come and the challenges, that's most likely the universe. If you guys believe in a higher power, I do, and I will never impose my beliefs on you. But for those of you that do, that is that higher power, whatever you believe in, telling you should be changing
Preacher,
your
sister,
direction.
preacher.
Wake up.
Wake up!
You're going. Your boat is in the wrong direction. I sent you somewhere else. Stop running from it.
Here's your proper coordinates. Now go.
But those winters, Nicole, firstly, I just want to say, Karen, I'm looking forward to 56 now. So,
You know when you look as good as Corden.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Always be yourself, unless you can be like Karen.
be Karen. Not Karen. So, I mean, you know, those winter moments. I like how you always say winter moments, because that brings out a superpower in us as human beings. And I think that society has always said to us, you can't be weak, you can't be vulnerable, you can't do this, and you can't express your emotions. And for me, being vulnerable brings about so much power, not only for yourself and for self-development, but also for the others around you. So you automatically glow with vulnerability, and that's okay.
Glow with vulnerability.
Wow.
That is.
There we go. Catchphrase for the day.
From that close.
So glow with vulnerability because of the strength that lies inside of you, and that strength will shine automatically. That's my message for today. I think out of all of this, we've all had to be vulnerable at some point, and the fact that we are glowing right now means that we've done this and we've done it correctly. And so we just want to shine on others. And I think that anybody who is listening to the podcast would probably feel our energy, number one, discovered our vulnerabilities, number two, and probably gonna say, hey, can I get a seat on this ride? I'm hoping that they will get a seat. They got to pick now. You got to book now a seat at the table, the white table.
The white table.
Yeah. So for me, I just think that we shouldn't be fearful of being vulnerable. We shouldn't.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Sorry, did I mention that?
No, I said amen to that.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah,
the accent,
yeah.
you know.
Oh yeah, it must be. So I'm hoping that everybody who listened to this podcast today enjoyed it thoroughly, and I really do feel that we've put some kind of coin in your bowl, and it's going ting-ling-ling-ling, and we are probably going to be doing that for the rest of the series. But we're going to do this podcast once a month, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about this. Sorry, I brought this 2 dimes.
The dude has coins with him.
You're talking about coins. I'm like, okay, that must be a sign. I found these 2 little dimes from back when I was with a corporate environment, and we went to a convention in Vegas.
Yeah.
Which I I had the opportunity to stay at the Caesar Palace. It was amazing. But anyway, so I had these 2 dimes in my pocket, and I used them a few times in life coaching. If you put the 2 dimes on top of each other, and you shift them in your hand like this, in your fingers, right, between your thumb and your what's that
Index
thing?
finger.
Index finger, and you just shift the coins on top of each other, you have a paradigm shift.
Oh my gosh.
That is so powerful, Paolo.
I wish
So-
there was a video so that people can see.
I wanna invite you.
I'm rolling on the floor.
I wanna invite you to come to our podcast every time
So you're gonna have a
with that image in your head, a paradigm shift.
Pretty thing.
Oh,
Well done. Can I say cut?
And I think with that being said,
over it.
Just close it off.
All right, everybody, thank you so much.
Oh gosh.
Girls, let's just all say goodbye.
bye everyone from Coach Nicole. I wish you guys an amazing month.
Bye everyone. I'm hoping that you'll tune in every month and it will get hectic from here, and looking forward to the journey with you.
Bye everyone from I am Liesel M, and hope that you guys have a fruitful month, and we'll see you next month and have fun.
Yes, and this is Coach Paulo signing off, the 4 coaches. This is Inside Out, the podcast where we bring some paradigm shifts for you. Cheers, everybody. Till next time.